it's a lot of got caught up with a lot of deliverables and projects, so I had to shift the class. Okay, so we will just just continue because by 8 I need to get off this Zoom because I have another meeting for it. Okay, so I only took time to wait to see if other people will join. So, but so far it is going to be recorded. I think we should just move on. So I'm sharing my screen now. Please, host, please enable me to share screen. Thank you. I still can't share my screen. Please, can the host enable me to share my screen? Hello, can somebody hear me? I need to share my screen, please. Okay. Okay, so I don't know. Where is the host? Okay, so I don't know. Nobody's allowing me to share screen. I'm not the host, and maybe I will just proceed. But that would not be nice because you will not be seeing my screen. African HSE group, please, can you enable me to share my screen, please? Okay. Okay. So the last time, we stopped at, we were able to cover fundamentals of information security. We talked about what information security is, information security management. We talk about core information security principles, where we talk about confidentiality as the secrecy and the privacy of information, and integrity, the authenticity and the accuracy of information, and availability, the usability, the timeliness, and the protection of production, and prevention of disruption of services. Then we talked about other elements of information security like vulnerabilities, loopholes, and weaknesses in systems, networks, and computers. We talked about threats, which is circumstances or any events that can pose, that can harm, a network or a system. Then we talk about risk as likelihood of an impact of an exploitation of vulnerability. So today we'll be moving on to viruses and malwares. Viruses and malwares. I know we are familiar with what virus is. Still can't share my screen. I know we are familiar with what virus is, from the foundational knowledge from biology. Virus are organisms that spread across the body system or whatever animal system to harm them or to cause danger. Bring it from that knowledge. You can also define virus in computer term as softwares or programs that are capable of posing danger to computers, networks, and electronic devices or internet connected devices. So that's virus, a malicious application or code or program used to perform disruptive or destructive, not disruptive now. Of course, it disrupts, the workability of a system, but ultimately it destroys activity and, devices or local network. So what are the types of viruses that we have? We have boot sector. Boot sector virus is a virus that that infects the ability for a system to boot. That is the ability for a system to come up when you turn it on. It means that system will malfunction. It will not, turn on. It will not be turned on if the way it's supposed to turn on. There's web scripting, one that affects uh, web applications, viruses that affect web applications, the ones that you access through web applications. There's direct action, there's browser hijacker, the one that hijacks your browser and then do stuffs on behalf of you. When you browse using your browser, you are the one in control. But this virus hijacks your browser and do stuffs, on behalf of you. Then we have resident viruses, we have polymorphic, we have file infector, the one that ultimately infects files and destroy files. They have multi-peptides, macro are common in Microsoft Office programs, Microsoft Office programs. So these are different types of viruses that we have. Okay, I think I can share my screen now. So these are the different types of viruses that we have. You can make more research on them. We will not be dwelling so much on them because there's so much to cover. So this is just to expose you to see the different types of viruses that we have, what viruses are actually. Okay, so then we have malware. Malware. Now, what is malware? We talked about viruses the other time. This is malware. Malware is the short form of malicious code or malicious software. Malicious software. So a virus is a type of malware. A virus that I defined the other time is a type of malware. A malware is a malicious code or malicious software that that are designed to cause harm to systems and local networks or networks at large. So malicious software harmful to systems, hostile, intrusive, and intentionally nasty. They seek to invade, damage, and disable systems. That's malware generally. So what is the motives behind malware? The motive behind malware is money making. Anybody that creates malware today wanted to either invade your system so that it malfunctions, so that they can perform further intrusive activity or perform further invading activity. Then sabotage, they want to destroy something. They might necessarily not come. Somebody that is using malware on your system might necessarily not come for your money. It might just be that they just want to destroy your system and disrupt your services. Then political statement and bragging rights. So now from these motives, we can say these motives are attributed to threat actors. So who are threat actors? Threat actors are any agent. I think I defined this last time. Any agent, whether system or human, that poses a threat to a system or a network. That's a threat actor. It can be a system, it can be a device, and it can be human being. For example, a hacker now is a threat actor. But we have different type of threat actors. We have script kiddies. Now, script kiddies are just guys, majorly young guys who are not professionals. They are not expert system users or computer users, but they have a bit or very few, a little knowledge about computer, and then they leverage on that little knowledge they have to take advantage of tools and technologies that have been created by expert hackers, to sabotage a system or a network. So it means that a 17-year-old guy who is very curious and inquisitive, or maybe he's just playing around and is very interested in computers, but does not know how to create tools to harm system, but you now, stumble on tools online that some other hackers, expert hackers have created, and then learn how to use them, and then use that to hack a system. That's a script kiddie. That's a script kiddie. We have that's type one. We have another type of threat actor. We call them activists. Activists. Hacktivists. Those ones are politically they are politically motivated. So most times they hack organizations, they hack governments to in order to uncover some truth and then make it public, expose critical informations, highly confidential informations, and expose it to the public because they are fighting for rights. So they are motivated with they are politically motivated. You see that. So we have another type of you see, all these are not here, so but you need to know them based on, we are talking about motives now. Now we have another type of threat actors. They are called insider threats. Insider threat actors. Insider threat. It means that these threat actors could be an employee of an organization, a third-party vendor, a supplier of an organization, or an ex-employee who poses danger to the organization's network or systems based on the fact that he's taking revenge, maybe because his boss offends him, or maybe because somebody because of greed, and then he now connives with an external hacker, to expose some confidential information from internet, or expose data or confidential information about the organization and the organization network, that gives external hackers that opportunity to intrude into the organization's network. We call them insider threat actors. Insider threat actors, they have authorized access to the organization system, and then they take advantage of that, to cause harm to the organization. Okay, then we have another type of threat actor. We call them competitors. Competitors. Competitors are organizations who are in rivalry with another organization, and then they now go ahead to hire hackers, to invade or to attack, to launch a cyber attack at the other rival organization. They are competitors. That is another type of threat actors. We have another type of threat actor. We call them nation state, or state sponsored. So these are cyber threat actors who who are after cyber war. Most of the time they cause cyber war. They target other countries based on the fact that a country is sponsoring them. So there will be like groups of hackers sponsored by a country in order to launch a cyber attack against another country. This is very rampant with Russia. It's very rampant with Russia. You can go online and make research. Nation states threat actors. That is another. So they are motivated by political motivation. They are motivated by military intelligence. Maybe they want to gather information about military intelligence from the other country, or maybe there are certain information they want to spy on another country, like that. We call some other ones syndicate groups. These ones they're not state sponsored. They're not sponsored by a country, but they are groups of hackers who comes together. Then they put their resources together, to attack organizations, infrastructures, and sometimes, governments. They are called syndicate groups. So those ones are coordinated, highly coordinated, just like state sponsors too. There will be groups, just like, but they are sponsored by states or a nation. But these syndicate groups, they might necessarily not be sponsored by a state. They might just be that they are the ones sponsoring themselves, but they are groups. They are more than one hackers coming together for one, for a common goal. Okay, so they have different, we have different types like that, and I've mentioned like 5 to 6 now. Okay, so with different motives, with different motives. Some of them target infrastructures, some of them target POS system and banking systems, some of them target, so it depends on what they want to achieve. Like Script Kid is now, he might be, a Script Kid might be motivated by challenge, that is bragging. They want to show their colleagues or their friends that they can do something, and because of that they will launch a cyber attack at an individual or an organization. That guy is only being naive, or is only being he's just playing around, not because he necessarily wants to make money. Then we call some other ones cyber criminals, which is the one most of us might have seen around. These are scammers, Yahoo guys. They are cyber criminals. They are categorized under cyber criminals, and they are highly money motivated, greed. They are greedy, and money is their motivation. You get. So these are different threat actors and their motives. Okay, then we have types of malware. So these threat actors use different malware and and different attack methodologies based depending on their uh, objectives, action on objective, depending on what the goal they want to achieve. So ransomware is a type of malware. I told you virus is a type of malware. Ransomware is a type of malware also. Now, ransomware is a malware that locks down a victim's data or encrypts. I use lockdown so that we understand. If I say encrypt, it means they have they turned that data or information into something that cannot be accessed except there is a certain key that you will use to access the data or the information. So that's encryption. Turning information into something that is not relatable. Something that is not relatable, you just see it, you will not be able to relate with it because it has been encrypted. Okay, so yeah, ransomware is a malware that encrypts or locks down systems, information and data, and then a ransom is demanded. A payment is demanded from the criminal, the cyber criminal, before they would give you the key to unlock the data or the system. And many a times they use cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. They use blockchain technology. This cryptocurrency address, a blockchain address that is not traceable. To receive the payment, so that afterwards you'll not be able to trace it. And that's crypto ransomware. Okay, so that is what ransomware is generally, and it's not only limited to organizations. You might be thinking is organizations they will be targeting. They're targeting individuals also. These people are after information, they're after data, and they target anybody that has the information they need. So it might be an individual, it might be an employee, anyone that has the information they need, they target, not just organizations. Okay, so we have keylogger. So the way keylogger works, keylogger is a malware, is a type of spyware. Now, what is a spyware? Okay, I'm still coming to spyware, right? Spyware is a malware, a malicious software that spies on you. It records the activities on your system, the activities you perform or you carry out on your system, and then relay it back to the cyber criminal that that releases the malware. So it records every of your activity. So keylogger is a type of spyware that records your keyboard keystroke. That is, if you press A, it will record it. If you press B, it will record it. In short, even if you use on-screen keyboard, you do not use your physical keyboard, you use on-screen keyboard, it has the ability to capture every keystroke that you press on that on-screen keyboard. It also has the ability to take snapshots or screenshots, not snapshot now. It has the ability to take screenshots of every activity on your system. Then spyware, as I've said, is records activities, whatever you do, everything. You open a file, you open everything, it records it. So now spyware also has the ability to turn on your microphone without your permission on your system. If your system is infected with spyware, it has the ability to turn on the microphone without your permission. It has the ability to turn on your camera without your permission. You see people spying on people without their permission or without them noticing. That is the work of spyware. Spyware, malware, type of malware. We have worms. Worms are like viruses, but the only difference is they spread from one system to another without the intervention of the target or the victim or the user. So it means viruses does not spread on their own until they have an agent that carries the virus from one place to another. For example, you don't have a virus on your system until you insert like a USB drive that has the virus. When you insert it, your system has the virus. If another person, now the virus will not move to another system until maybe you now carry that USB again and insert it on another system or that is on the network. But if it is worms, worms has the ability to move on the same network, has the ability to move from one system on the same network to another without your intervention, without an agent of a carrier, you understand? Okay, so that is worm, that's worms. Then there's hardware. This is unsolicited advertisement. Unsolicited advertisement. Now these are just unsolicited adverts that pops up when you browse the internet, when you use your applications on your phone. Now these are not they are not bad in themselves. They are not bad in themselves, but it becomes bad when a criminal, a cyber criminal, embeds in it a malicious software. So for example, any unsolicited pop-ups can just show. You can just close it, normal. When we visit some websites, we see those things and we don't get infected, right? But now cyber criminals are beginning to embed in some of these hardware pop-ups, embed in them. They are beginning to embed in them malicious software where even if you try to close them, just by clicking alone, you would have downloaded the malware. There is drive-by download a malware where, while you're browsing, you don't know, maybe unknowingly you click one link or something and boom, you have downloaded a malware like that. Those are different types of malware that we have. There is, there is advanced persistent threat. That is another malware. There is RAT, remote access Trojan. There is remote access Trojan. There are other malwares like rootkit, and the rest of them like that. Okay, so you can just browse, but for now, for foundational knowledge, these are the most common ones. Okay, there is Trojan horse, there is botnet, these are still type of malware. So what is a Trojan horse? Now, a Trojan horse is a computer software or program, malicious code that disguises as a legitimate program. It disguises as a legitimate program. So for example, you might see a software that is saying this is an antivirus. A software has an antivirus, and you won't know that that software is not an antivirus, it's actually virus. And then you can see some file, some softwares that say, okay, this is used to open PDF, and it disguises as a legitimate PDF. Opener or viewer, then you download it and boom, it's a malware, hidden as an attachment in an email. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, free to download file, helps create backdoors into a system, spy on users, online activity. Still sensitive, data. So try this phone, please.
Please, we can't hear you anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. I actually took permission. I said I want to quickly pick a call. I don't know if you heard that. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, Trojan horse helps create backdoors into a system. What are backdoors? Backdoors are, malicious software or code that helps, that create a pathway for a cyber criminal or a hacker to get into your system without your notice, without your notice, unnoticed, that's a backdoor. For example, when the Trojan horse is downloaded as a malware or is transferred onto your system, it creates this backdoor so that hackers and maybe cyber criminals who created the backdoor through the malware will be able to come into your system and go out whenever they want. That is what backdoors does. Then they spy on users' online activity and steal sensitive data. And then common types of Trojan horses, backdoor Trojan. We have backdoor Trojan, we have banker Trojan, remote access Trojan, RAT, rootkit Trojan. These are types of Trojan horses, variety of them that we have. Remote access Trojan. It means that that malware has the ability to connect to your system remotely and then access your system and then be able to create a backdoor. Rootkit also helps them to maintain level of access, escalate privileges on your system. Escalate privilege. When we say escalation of privileges, we are saying that they gain like administrator privilege on your system without your notice, and then be able to do ultimately anything, anything. Yes, they hide inside legal ones. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Now, botnet, collection of computers linked together to perform a specific task. Collection of computers that are linked together to perform a specific task. So these are botnets. They are collection of computers that are linked together. It means they are connected, they are networked together. It is also called zombie network or zombies. You know what zombies are. All these when if you have watched The Walking Dead, and there's one other, all of us are dead. All those funny horror movie where somebody will be infected, and before you know it, the virus will spread by that person, transferring maybe by biting the other ones. If you have watched them, I'm trying to bring it to something we can relate with aliens. Yeah, something like that. Okay. I don't think, does aliens bite people? I don't think so. But something like that too. Okay. So yeah, so now the group of them, when they now spread the virus, most of they will now become the same. So they are zombies because they are now being controlled by that virus. The only thing they know how to do then, they don't have the mind of their own, is to get more people, bite more people, transfer, yeah. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, Chidozie, thank you. So yeah, that is that. So you, from that understanding of those movies, you'll be able to understand what botnet is. That is infected. There are collection of infected computers that have now been, they are now being controlled by the person that infects the computer by command and control, like a master controller. You know, so what the person will now do, the hacker or the attacker will now do is link all this, connect. It might be remotely, it might be an IoT device, like a CCTV, like a bulb in your house that is a internet connected, like, you know, all those things linked together, infected and linked together, connected together, then to launch an attack. And you know that that kind of attack will be massive when devices like that are connected together, infected, and then used to launch an attack. Okay. So, no, I know somebody will want to ask, are they connected physically? No, that's why we call it cyber. Cyber, they are internet connected. You know, they're connected to the internet. So that helps it to, you know, to be able to control those, the software or their firmware enables the hacker or the controller or master controller to control them by the operating system of those devices. So it's not as if he's moving, when he's not Superman, it's not as if he's moving those devices physically from where they are. You get. So, okay. So now this can then be used for distributed denial of service attack. This collection of infected computers can now be used for distributed denial of service attack. That is distributed means there are now lots of computers or devices, you know, that are used to launch a denial of service attack. Now, a denial of service attack is an attack that disrupts that overwhelms a network or collection of systems or a system. You know, it overwhelms it with traffics that it could, beyond, you know, the traffics that it could take. Then by so doing, it causes the system to shut down or to stop functioning or to stop rendering the services that it's supposed to render. So that's distributed denial of service attack. Okay. I want to make sure that we finish this slide today. Okay, spyware, hardware, and keylogger. I've explained all this. You know, spyware allows attacker to record system configuration and user actions. You know, record your actions, remote login. I've said that, screenshot. I mentioned that. You know, hardware records some user activity also, but to lesser extent than spyware. So, for example, when you see that you bought something on Jumia and they are using that your record to now advertise another, you know, something related to what you bought before, that's hardware, because they're using those information collected, you know, to market other product to you. You know, uses cookies to deliver targeted ads, you see, based on user browsing behavior. So when you browse, there's something called cookies. So cookies stores your browsing history and browsing activity in order to optimize your browsing experience, you know. So when this, and that's why we normally advise people to after browsing for a while, they should clear their cookies on their system. They should clear their cookies on their browser, I mean, and their browser. And it's very simple. Just go to menu on your browser, go to settings, you go to privacy or security, you see cookies there. Just clear it. You see clear. Click the button clear. That's all. You know, then legitimate hardware should make privacy policy obvious. So sometimes when you browse some, you know, website, they will bring up a cookie policy, a cookies policy. They will tell you they are collecting certain information about you and your browsing activity because they want to use it for advertisement. So some websites will tell you if you want to decline, and some will tell you if you want to accept. And some, when you decline, you will not be able to access that website or the services on the website. So sometimes what I tell people is, if it is very important for you to visit the website, just accept. When you are done, clear your cookies, finish. Okay, then we have keyloggers, because keystrokes on your keyboard gathers information and sending to the attacker sensitive information like users and password. So keylogger are used to record keystrokes in order to gather information about your password, your credit card details, and your username. Okay, so cybersecurity model, we have cybersecurity reference model, like a model for you know, that constitutes the activity or workability of cybersecurity. You know, like a control cybersecurity control functions. Like a control function, security control functions, like how cybersecurity functions, how it protects, or how it protects an organization. The steps, like a model, a blueprint of how it works in protecting an organization holistically. So that is what it is, and we call something NIST cybersecurity framework, or NIST cybersecurity standard, still framework, CSF. Now, NIST is National Institute of Technology and National Institute of Science and Technology, right? And they have come up with standards, different standards, which one of it is cybersecurity framework, that every organization's like a collection of best practices, for risk management and risk reduction for every organizations to follow, like a common language that organizations can follow based on cybersecurity activities. Okay, then they now have their model. They divide it into 5. They call the first one identify, second one protect, the third one detect, the fourth one respond, and the fifth one recover. So every organization should have security measures and controls that have been implemented to achieve these 5 cybersecurity model. And you see, identify has to do with risk assessment, asset management, supply chain risk management, business environment, governance, risk management strategy. That is, you are identifying the number, you are trying to identify how many assets do you have, and then you try to manage those assets. You try to, determine and identify the risk associated with every asset you have in your organization, and after that, you then take, go further to reduce, to see how you can reduce these risks, by taking into measure different cybersecurity measures or controls that will help you to reduce the risk, and then monitor how best this risk reduction is performing in your organization as you progress. Okay, that is identify. Protect. Protect also has to do with, security controls that you put in place, like identity management, authentication, and access control. That is, how do you manage the access to your organization's network? How do you manage it? How do you control it? Are you in charge of it? Do you see to the fact that you know who comes in or who goes out, who logs in or who logs out? Or do you see to the fact that you are able to identify, the people that access your organization's network, and then also give preference to different persons or employees, give access to them, to give them access to resources based on their roles and responsibility in the organization? For example, a clerk or a front desk officer should not have access to the same resources with like chief technology officer in an organization. So that is access control, identity and authentication management. Awareness and training. Are you training your organization's employees to know how to detect if there's anything going wrong, how to detect a phishing email, how to detect if somebody's trying to scam them, how to detect if somebody's trying to break protocols, those kind of things. Information protection, processes and procedures, data security, maintenance, and protective technologies. So this protect covers all these areas I've mentioned. Then you see detect. Detect covers security continuous monitoring. That is, you put in place or you implement continuous monitoring technologies that helps you to monitor every activity that is going on your organization's network, so that they can detect if there is any attempt of attack or any unsolicited activity or any unrelated activity that is going on, or any unusual activity. Then they will be able to detect, because there is continuous monitoring. Then there is detection process. There is anomalies and events. Anomalies meaning is not a normal process. When something is taking a different process from the normal process that will be implemented, you should have systems in place that will be able to alert you and say something is wrong somewhere. Then you'll be able to investigate what is going on. Okay, that is detect. You see that all these things, organization must have it. In short, with this little knowledge you have, you should be able to advise a startup or a small business how to go about their security implementation, or how to go about securing themselves, even if they don't have money to buy technologies. Just need to understanding you can give them. Okay, do you know all the assets or technologies that you use as a startup? Haven't known them, have you been able to identify what are the risks associated with them? Okay, you have 2 computers, you have 1 router. Now, have you been able to identify these, technologies, and then try to know what are the risks associated with your router, what are the risks associated with the 2 systems you're using, and maybe a telephone, an internet enabled telephone. So now, when you after that, have you been able to now look and make research on, okay, how do we reduce this risk? What are the things we are supposed to do? Okay, on my system, I need to put password. Okay, then that password must be expiring on the systems in the organization. The password must be expiring every 14 days or maybe every 2 weeks, so that we can change it, so that maybe somebody have learned it, and after they have learned it, they will not be able to use it again. On the router, we need to implement firewall. These are just knowledge that a normal small business, even without so much money or budget for robust cybersecurity program, will need. Then have we implemented firewall that will filter every traffic that is coming into our organization's network and going out, to see if there's any malicious one, any known malicious IP address trying to send anything to our, so the firewall will block it? Or do we have access control list that helps us to implement rules that blacklists certain IP addresses or certain websites, or whitelist certain processes, all those kind of things. So with this knowledge that you have gathered, okay, so we have respond to recovery plan, business continuity, improvement, and communications. So that is responding. Responding, that is, how do you recover from an attack? If there's an incident, a security incident or event of an attack, how do you recover? How do you respond to it? Are you even ready to go through that process of recovery from an attack, or will it meet you unaware? That's respond. Recover now. Recover talks about, do you have a sorry, I'm giving it to, respond is not recover, please. Respond is not recover. Recover is not respond. Recover is, business continuity plan, as I've said. Now, respond comes before recover. Sorry. Okay. So responding talks about analysis, mitigation, and improvement. Response planning. How do you respond, as I've said? Now, recover is, how do you recover from an event? Now, respond has to do with when the event is happening presently, like as the event is happening, how do you respond? Then recover is now after the event or security incident or secure data breach. How do you recover from that? How do you contain it? How do you reduce the impact of the incident? How do you reduce the impact on your organization and make sure that it does not have so much impact on your clients and your customers? You see that this is holistic. So if an organization is able to implement all these security measures and based on this blueprint, that organization is going to have a good cyber resilience. I'm not saying that they will not be attacked, but at least even if when they are being attacked, they have every processes in place documented for them to respond to the attack and then recover from the attack. Okay, so let's just finish this. Okay, so this defense in-depth layered cybersecurity defense framework. So you see, we have private cloud, we have public cloud, we have data security from inside. You see, we have data security, we have application security. So these are various types of security. Data security, we have application security, we have endpoint security, we have network security, we have perimeter security, and the rest. So for data security, this the security of any data and information. Application security is the protection of application softwares and the rest. Endpoint security is the protection of your systems, your laptops. Oh, okay, I should come again with respond, right? Yeah, responding is your reaction to current happenings of security incident. For example, there is a cyber attack going on. How do you respond to it? Do you have planning in place to be able to contain that attack and then stop it? That is respond. Do you have security measures and incident response plan on ground that have documented the processes to go through for you to respond, contain, and stop that attack? Then make communications to the right, right people, like the law enforcement agents, the media, press release, and the rest. That is part of responding. Then analyzing what really happened, trying to know what happened, who is responsible for the attack, what evidences can you gather. That's during responding, incident response. What evidences could you gather? From the evidences you have been able to gather, could you be able to, have somebody take somebody as, as one who is responsible for the attack? You get? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So we have endpoint security, which is the security of, okay. I need to, close now. Yeah, I think, wow, still have networking, right? We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, so we have endpoint security, security of laptops, any endpoint host, like laptops, your computers, your IP phone, and the rest. Perimeter security, perimeter, your network, and then network security, firewall, and the rest, router, and the rest. Perimeter, security, message security, application gateway, firewall, and the rest. Okay, so these are the defense in depth, that is going deeper into, the different types of security and the different types of measures that you are supposed to implement. You can search for this Northrop Grumman Corporation for you to get the image online. So we'll stop here today, and we'll continue tomorrow with networking. Okay. So yeah.
All right, sir. What about the assignment?
Oof. you people did not come on time. Now we would have quickly discussed the assignment before I start. But right now, okay. So how many of us, if you have, okay, if you have the assignment, if you did the assignment, actually raise up your hand. Let me see. So maybe that's what we'll quickly discuss tomorrow before we start. If you have done the assignment, okay. Joy has done the assignment. You see, many people didn't do it. So let's see. Okay, Chinedu, okay. Who is this NSN? Please, next time rename your username so that we can know. And this Infinix, is your name Infinix? Okay, so tomorrow, let's see, we should be able to, we'll quickly go. Actually, I waited like 10 minutes or so before we start. So I thought people would come early. So let's just call it a day here. So tomorrow, by God's grace, let's come early. We'll discuss the, wow, Infinix, this is class 2.
Right,
this is not class 1. Yeah, thank you. This is class 2. This is not class 1. So maybe you can get the recorded video or something. Okay, thank you, and have a great day. We see tomorrow the same time. Okay.
Bye, sir.
Yeah.
Love you too much. Mm, thank you for all your children.